kids that were born in 90?
The year 90?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because Nick was the 90. So.
Not I, says the cat. Ay. Oh. Ay. I dressed for the occasion today.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yes.
Ready? I'll do the countdown.
Yeah.
5. Was that just your radio voice?
I don't know. It's quarter to 4.
A quarter to 4:45. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, friends. Welcome to The Jersey Alchemist, and I'm your host, Dr. John Gerard Gallucci.
And I'm Philip D'Angelo. What's up, bud? How you doing?
You know, if I seem a little jittery, a little jumpy,
Yeah.
I did something really stupid today.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think I've known you do anything stupid. This would be your first.
He's so full of shit.
What happened?
Lots of things stupid.
Wait, this could be a litany of things.
Yeah.
Did you call an ex-girlfriend?
No.
Okay, that would have been stupid. Did you cheat on your taxes?
Not yet.
No. Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, those are stupid things to do. Some would say.
Yeah.
So what?
Calling the old girlfriend would be really stupid.
Yeah. So what happened? What'd you do?
Well, I couldn't sleep last night, so I took an extra melatonin, which seemed to hit the spot. It did the trick, and off to La La Land I went. But then this morning when the alarm went off, I was like in slow motion. Okay, so I got up, took care of the dogs, my BFFs, and then I made myself a double brewed coffee. What's double brew? Well, you get your coffee cup, stick it in the Keurig maker, and you take a cartridge, and you hit whatever, small or large, as long as the vessel can accommodate. And then you take that cartridge out, and then you toss it, you put another one right in after it, and you do the same thing. So you're getting kind of that first heavy, hard, powerful squeezing of that K-cup. And so I had 2 of those, because after the first one, I felt like I could go right to sleep on my couch. So I had a second, nonchalantly. Then I had my keto carnivore breakfast.
Nice.
Which consists of a beautiful 1/2-inch ham steak and 4 once-over lightly eggs, and it was just heavenly. So today was a workout day, so I was headed to my buddy Mike's, and I mixed up a new energy pre-workout drink. I know that all the people who know what I'm talking about in podcast land are going, oh, you didn't. I did. I did. And I figured, well, I'm not going to gobble this down now. I'll fill up my new road canister all the way up to the top with spring water, and I'll just make the mix that I think should be. I guess I mixed too much. Holy smokes. I had to stop my workout 3/4 of the way through. I mean, real strong, wide awake, but jittery and like this ain't good. So, if the accelerator is stuck to the floor, don't be putting the pedal to the metal, because it's already there. So I backed off, and I excused myself, took my pulse. It was okay. And then I came over here to the studios, and here we are. So I'm starting to come down off that high.
You are talking a little fast. Wow.
I adjusted my speed knob.
Speed up.
Right.
Those pre-workouts are very, very dangerous.
I think so.
I experimented with one time many years ago, younger. It did not end well for me. I mean, my heart was literally popping out of my chest.
Yeah.
And I was like you said, oh, this isn't good. And,
right.
I had a little episode. And since then.
And I didn't use, a typical canned energy drink that you'd find. I don't even know where you find them. You find them at the supermarket.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I didn't do that. This is something from a, like a workout weightlifter's website, one of those. So,
Wow.
yeah. So I think we're coming down. So
Okay.
the high altitude flyer here is coming down back into, what I would consider livable atmosphere, and
Okay.
maybe we'll just knock this one out of the park. Maybe I won't forget where I am or
Yeah.
stumble over my words.
Come on. We all stumble, that's for sure.
Right.
I want to go back to something you said.
Cool.
And it's not the first time you said it.
Okay.
You take melatonin.
Let's
I'm stumbling over my
let's
words.
not mix what that sounded like with melatonin.
Melatonin. Thank you.
One's
That's
a
the word.
disease that you don't want.
So
Right.
melatonin. So melatonin,
Mhm.
because you can't sleep at night. I
Yeah.
can't sleep at night.
Right.
My worst part of 24 hours
Mhm.
is laying in bed
Right.
trying to get to sleep, and it's always a battle. It's the only time I'm stressed. When I'm supposed to be relaxing,
Mhm.
I'm stressing. Why is that?
Well, one thing is, look, you know what? We don't have Jordan Peterson here to explain the psychology of insomnia, but I'll take a stab at it.
Not yet. We don't.
Because not yet we don't. We will one day. I'll take a stab at it because yes, I am a surgeon, so no pun intended. I will take a stab at it. You have a lot of things on your mind. We all do, right? I mean, we have a load of shit banging around inside our skull, and that's without the mainstream media jacking it up. Okay, so what happens? You know what? I always have a story, right? That's kind of I think
Absolutely.
relatable. Then we'll come back
Absolutely.
to the insomnia thing.
Okay.
I remember I was I don't know, a teen, and it was Christmas Eve. In our house, Christmas Eve was a big hullabaloo. My aunt and uncle came over, my cousin Angela, my grandmother, my uncle Ed, her husband, the five of us, and everybody made homemade food. There was music and gifts, and every single year for years and years and years and years, it was just like the best night of the calendar year. And I remember once the phone rang. And my mother answered it because the phone was next to the stove, and there were no cell phones. It was a phone stuck to the wall. And she said, "Tom, it's for you." Tom is my dad. And he looked and he said, "Yeah, okay. Who is it?" And she says, "I don't know. Somebody asked for Tom Gallucci." He gets on the phone, and I hear my father going, "Are you serious? For real? You call me up now?" Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Next week, I'll have somebody look into it because what you're looking for is all locked away in the office, probably in a lockbox, at the pool. The whole pool is shut down and winterized, but I'll do my best. Okay, I'm going to take your name and your number. Bop, 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 bop. And I was standing there and I go, "Who the hell was that?" He says, "Can you believe it?" He says, "That was a member of the Cedar Grove pool." My dad was the manager for, I think, 29 years in a row. And he says he called me because he realized that his 7-year-old daughter never got her pass certificate for advanced beginner swimming lessons
That's unbelievable.
on Christmas Eve.
That's amazing.
Right. So, but okay, now you're thinking, have I lost my mind? Has the energy pre-workout drink really shot me off? No, it's the same issue as far as I see it. That guy had all of the worries of his day somewhere else on Christmas Eve. And it's almost like a weekend. So if Christmas Eve falls on a weekend, now you got double trouble because all of the bullshit and the monkey chatter in your monkey brain is kind of like the gravel at the bottom of a dirty fish tank. It's not floating around. Now you can see. Now you can think. And all these stupid things come up in your head that you don't have time to think about. So on Christmas Eve, he was thinking about that little card that said, "Samantha Taylor, past advanced beginners at the Cedar Grove Pool, summer of 1973 in July." He calls the pool manager Christmas Eve.
Wow.
Right? So I think it's the same phenomenon. You're in bed, Nobody's calling you about one of your orders, or there's no
Just work.
work for you, hopefully at 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe there was for me for years, but for most people there isn't. And so your brain calms down, and all those little stupid things that kind of pop up like thorns on a nice bed of grass, they stick up. And invariably, you're walking with bare feet, and boing, you step on a thorn, and now it's in your head. And now you don't know how to rectify it. So it's an issue that bugs you. And now all of a sudden, these stupid, stupid things that really don't need to bother us, they get us jacked. Then we start branching out and making excuses for why we should be upset and jacked over something. That's what happens to me
Wow.
all the time.
So
Does it sound familiar, or does it
yeah,
sound
well,
way,
I mean, everybody, no matter where you are in your life, it doesn't have to be work related. It could be a family issue.
all of it.
I mean, relationship issue. I mean, everything. It may be a health issue. Something's going on in your life, or you're thinking
Right.
about somebody else, but you just don't go to sleep. And that is my worst 8 hours of the day, if it's even 8 hours. It's
Yeah.
usually 6,
Right.
5.
Because your demons have you pinned down. They do,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I know there's those little gremlins, like if there's like a cake in the house, that call me in the middle of the night about eating the cake, So those are gremlins. I mean, the demons are on one side and the gremlins are on the other side. I mean, those gremlins are definitely calling me. The demons, I'm not so sure about, but I just can't sleep. So I don't know if do you recommend that for people to
Well,
take?
okay, here's the disclaimer, right? Because
Okay.
whenever you see somebody talk about investing or cryptocurrency or stocks and bonds and precious metals, they'll say, well, I'm not a financial analyst and I'm not a banker, but I can only tell you what I do. Okay, well, fine. Here's the disclaimer. Yes, I'm a physician. Yes, I'm a surgeon. I am not here to give you medical or surgical advice. I'm not. I can't. It would be wrong. But I can only tell you what I do. So, melatonin is bought cheaply just about everywhere. Stay away from the gel caps because it has glyphosate. And go and get yourself, I don't know, at your own behest, check with your doctor first. And I'll tell you what melatonin does for me. Melatonin seems to cut the peaks off of my anxiety and my energy, so that if you were looking at my brain waves or my sleep wake cycle or my relaxation cycle, it's a sine wave. There's a baseline, and then there's highs and lows and highs and lows and highs and lows. And I'm not different than anybody else, maybe a little bit. But melatonin, oh God, I don't want to sound like Anthony Fauci, but we got to mitigate the curve on your anxiety sine wave. So melatonin mitigates my spike on my anxiety level. So when I do go to sleep, and I invariably will have to get up in 2 hours to use the bathroom because I'm a male in my 60s, I can get back to sleep. Without the melatonin, and if I've slept for 2 hours, it's like taking 2 hours of a power nap on a couch. Now I'm ready to tear the house down. So melatonin puts me back to sleep. Now what helps me kind of smooth me right out for the entire night? Well, I was born with allergies. I'm like the allergy kid. As a matter of fact, you can see the bags under my eyes, and that's not just my age, it's my allergies. And it's been that way all my life. I used to see an allergist, and he used to stick needles in my rear end and in my arm and all of that crap. And I had the 6 subcutaneous injections in this arm and 6 in that arm. They really, really, really made me a pincushion. And then what were the results? Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Gallucci, your son is allergic to just about everything. Great. What do we do? I don't know. Okay. So, I know I'm way out there on the line. I'm overboard again. But
Wow. What about
bring me back in, Phil. Throw me the line.
John?
So
Okay.
So I knew I was going somewhere with this. It was important. I was just pulling it back around, and I fell overboard again.
Melatonin.
Yes, melatonin.
Yeah.
So because I was the allergy kid, I've been on and off allergy meds all my life. Uh, Respiratory tract allergies, GI tract allergies, you know, cutaneous manifestations of respiratory allergies. Oh, you need to know that that's out there. Any young kid with eczema, you have a food allergy until proven otherwise. Yeah, you heard it from me. Um, so I found out that Zyrtec, it works for me regarding my sinuses are clear and I can breathe, but it puts me to sleep. So I'm one of those people who can't take Zyrtec when I've got, important things to do during the day because it just grogs me out. Now, I'm not saying anything deleterious to the company that makes Zyrtec. I love Zyrtec, and it kills two birds with one stone for me. It puts me to sleep, it smooths me out, and it fosters my sleep from 8 o'clock in the evening to about 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, I don't go to sleep at 8 p.m., but I have to take it around 8 p.m. Otherwise, I won't really get out of bed the next day. I won't. And other people say to me, oh, I use Benadryl. It works so great. Guess what? Yeah, Benadryl comes over the counter too, except if I take Benadryl, I'm going nowhere until at least noon the next day. Nowhere. So I can't take Benadryl. It really zonks me out. So what do I do for my insomnia? If I don't have to get up early, and if I can take it by 8 p.m., I take a full Zyrtec, boop, down the hatch. And then at around 10 p.m., boop, I pop a 5 milligram melatonin. Don't try this at home without consulting your physician. And if that does it, great. And if it doesn't, I'll pop another half of a melatonin. I have a little pill cutter. And so that's 7.5 milligrams. Now, I'm under the impression, because of up-to-date contemporary videos from physicians talking about melatonin, that the doses can actually be much, much, much higher than that. Homie ain't going there. I don't want to sleep until 3 p.m. the next day. And apparently, people who do take melatonin do not undergo what's called tachyphylaxis, and that's a phenomenon where your liver and the systems that are meant to degrade different substances that you take in, it doesn't apparently get ahead of itself so that when you stop taking the melatonin, all of a sudden now your body's in a deficit, because melatonin is made in your brain. And I think it's the pineal gland. And so if you took other medications that messed with your diurnal rhythms, your night-day rhythms, your circadian rhythms, they can deplete your body by suppressing your own body's production of certain hormones. Then when you come off of that stuff, you're going to be deficient, and it might take a while. So I wouldn't do any of this without discussing it with your physician. I'm just telling you what I do. That's a long-winded way of saying, here's what I do for my insomnia. That's it.
Okay, I know. So apparently it's not just me. It's a problem with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Everybody you talk to, especially as we get older, seems like they have an issue sleeping.
Yeah.
I want to touch on another subject, John, allergies. I mean, I too was an allergic kid. Baseball.
I remember you almost falling off your chair because I think either your dad or your brother was mowing the lawn.
Oh, please, that would send me football season, right?
And
Baseball season.
he was sitting on a lounge chair on the lawn that was being cut, going, ah, ah. And I was like,
Yeah.
Phil, go inside.
Yeah. Oh, it was horrible. Growing up, that's what I remember. Graduating high school, I remember I had getting married. I had a problem. Hay fever, all grass. So once I became an adult, I started really watching sugars, and you've mentioned sugars before. And I went into a lot of natural foods, and I'm telling you, I have not had an allergy shot or taken an allergy pill in quite some time. And I don't know, maybe it's in my head that I think that's helping me, but I'll tell you what, no more pills, because I was hooked on those pills too. I had no choice. And, remember for my wedding when I got married, they gave me cortisone shots. They said that would help. I don't know. That's what the guy said. Cortisone shots will help you.
Nothing. I had a wisecrack, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was just the inflammation of knowing what you did to yourself. Right.
Yeah, well, that pain, yeah, that's no shot can take care of that.
Right. All right. So you
Clean
once
eating.
again, yeah, you once again you spurred me on to tell a story. And I want everybody to listen to every word of this story because it ain't a joke. Okay. So going back a few years, I don't know, 5 years or so, my youngest daughter said, Dad, uh, my boyfriend so and so, don't want to mention any names, my boyfriend so and so is gonna come over and he's gonna sleep over. That's not the point of the story. Okay, we're not going to talk about that end of this. And I says, yeah, okay, all right, because I was going to be home the whole weekend and all that stuff. And got to be in separate rooms. Don't be sneaking around at night when you think I'm asleep, because I won't be asleep because I'm an insomniac. Remember? So she goes, Dad, it's okay. We'll be fine. She goes, we'll probably end up just in front of the TV all night. Of course you will. All right. So I get to see the guy, and this is not the first time I've met him. He's a nice enough guy. The next morning, everything's good. Come down. They're already up. They made me coffee. I made them eggs. And my daughter got into the conversation about eggs, about cheese, about milk, cream, half and half, non-dairy creamers, almond milk, carnations, instant, whatever. And so that kicked off a conversation about different foods and food intolerances and food allergies. And I said, yeah, well, so-and-so. I said, I've had allergies all my life, and for 17 years, I developed and had and suffered with allergies to dairy, to eggs, and to spinach. When all the way up to the time I was 40, I ate tons of dairy and tons of eggs, weightlifter, football, ice hockey, all of that stuff, and, lifting weights and bulking up. I ate tons of albumin, which is basically egg white. And then I became horrifically allergic to it. And my daughter says to her boyfriend, show my dad your picture from high school. And I was like, okay. He pulls out a picture of himself when he was 15 years old. And now I think he's like almost 18. And he hands me this, school photograph. And he is covered with cystic acne. There wasn't a place on his face, his forehead, his ears, all the way down his neck. The poor kid had one of the worst cases of cystic acne I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's no joke.
No joke. And I have friends that are adults that are, unless they make a move with a dermatologist and treatments or a plastic surgeon, they're left with scars from the cystic acne, just like anybody who's had the chicken pox. If you were a kid and the chicken pox would hurt, they would itch. If you picked it, it left like a divot in a golf course. And I still have some of those divots. So everybody seems to kind of know what we're saying. And he looked at me and I looked at him, and here he is, this good-looking kid with, coiffed blonde hair, blue eyes, and his skin was perfect, like a baby's ass. And so I kind of figured, okay, this is the point where I'm supposed to say, wow, this was just 2 years ago? So I said, wow, this was just 2 years ago? How did this all come about? How did it go away? He said, Mr. Gallucci, he says, you can't believe what I went through. He says, I went to about 8 different medical facilities. I saw one doctor after the next. I saw several allergists. I saw infectious disease doctors. I saw multiple dermatologists at different times. I saw a plastic surgeon, and nobody had anything that could help me at all, not even close. He says, I wanted to kill myself. He says, I could not live like this. And now it, appropriately took a real serious turn. And now I'm just sitting there with one hand on my coffee and the other kind of gripping the side of the table. I'm just staring at him. And I said, okay. And what did you do? He says, I knew I had to do this on my own. Nobody was out there that could help me. And I was like,
For a young kid, that's
yeah.
impressive.
And yeah. And I was like,
I hope your daughter married this kid.
and I was like, okay, all right, I'm all ears. What'd you do? He says, it was do or die. He says, I just went to the internet and I researched everything I could. He goes, and the only thing that I thought that could possibly help me was going completely organic vegan. And I looked at him and I said, and? He says, and I did that. He says, and I had to get my mom and dad to agree because organic vegan food could get pricey. He says, but within 3 months, all of my acne disappeared in 3 months. And for years, 10 doctors in several different facilities couldn't help him. Wow.
That is
So
amazing.
that story really is all about lack of free thinking on the part of healthcare providers, lack of free thinking, which gets me pissed off. And it's all about dire straits for a teenager who's full of despair, who had to turn within because there was nobody else out there that was going to help him. They either wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't, whatever. So he had to take his own life into his own hands. God bless that kid. Wow. I mean, that level of cystic acne is just, it's unbelievable. And to this day, he has no acne. Now, I don't want to hear from anybody, oh, it was hormonal changes. He was a teen. Bullshit. He cured his own cystic acne when nobody else could do it. Isn't that an interesting story about allergies?
Wow. That's a great sleepover story.
Yeah.
I have a sleepover story.
Shoot, man.
It may be a bit controversial.
Perfect.
And it's a true story.
Does it include curse words and profanity?
No,
come on.
I could throw some in if you'd like.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, a female friend of mine who is divorced, has 2 beautiful daughters, okay? And the youngest daughter, at 14, wanted to have a sleepover, okay? So the mother, my friend, is, of course, well, who's going to sleep over? Especially in today's world.
Right.
And she's a busy woman, and okay, tell me who's going to sleep over.
His name is Ted.
So,
Bundy.
kind of, sort of like
Right.
that. So she goes, well, it'll be Susie, Mary, Lisa, and Joe. Joe? Well, it's not really Joe. It used to be Jane, but now she calls herself Joe. She's recognizing herself as Joe. Okay. So far, that's interesting. It was news to my friend. Like, wow, I can't believe this. 14 years old.
Okay.
So everybody comes over. Okay. Having a great time. Everybody's nice. So she goes, all right, we're going to go to sleep, and we're all going to sleep in my room. And she goes, well, hold on a second. She goes, what's the matter? She goes, well, boys aren't allowed in your room.
Mom said this.
Mom said that.
Okay.
So the 3 girls can go in, but Joe has to maybe sleep.
Joe's sleeping with me.
Joe's sleeping. Joe's going to sleep on the couch.
Okay.
So how do you feel about that? I mean, now think of that controversy, because, it's how do you explain that? I mean, talk about confusion. I'm confused. I can imagine how these
Yeah.
kids feel nowadays, and that was the
Right.
point of the story.
Yeah.
Because they all got along great. They had a great night, but when it came time to go to bed, Joe used to be Jane,
And how old were they?
14.
Oh, that's pretty young.
This is
Yeah.
this is a true story.
Well, but like, were there half a dozen people sleeping over?
Three, well, four, three altogether slept over. So there were four
Yeah.
children altogether.
Right.
Three girls that
Okay,
recognized
so
themselves as girls,
It was
and
but it was a handful of people.
yeah. So
Right.
Joe, even though he's biologically a female, is dressing and addressing himself as Joe. His parents now call him Joe.
Well,
And I'm
my
making
cousin-
all these
My
names up.
cousin
So
Josephine is Joe, so that
Okay.
covers both sides.
okay, but her name wasn't Josephine or his name. So
No.
I just thought that was an interesting story.
Yeah.
What parents and kids have to go through nowadays.
Mm.
I mean, right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well.
How do you handle that?
Well. I mean, to be honest with you, I did kind of go through that. Okay. And as a father, and all I can say is,
And I'm not
You
saying
know.
there's anything right or wrong with that story.
yeah, no. I know.
But everybody's put in a tough spot, an awkward position.
Right. Except when you're the person that owns the house and has the keys, right? So there were a couple things that I did, and this group of kids were like 16, and I was like, no, car keys are going in a basket, and nobody's leaving here, God forbid, under the influence. I can't afford to have that happen, and we got a bunch of bedrooms, boys over here, girls over there, and I think I got away with that because this particular group of kids, nobody had any hardliner declarations as of yet. But your story, the only out is that they were 14. I don't want to say 14-year-olds don't get it on, they do. But if there's a handful of kids and it's a sleepover, 14, they're laughing, they're giggling. So maybe as the mom, maybe she could have said, "Listen, I have ears like a Siberian husky. Lights out at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock. Lights out." That kind of, I don't know. That's a tough one.
It puts everybody in a tough position. The mom, the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, just think how simple life was back when we were kids. I mean, first of all, we wouldn't have sleepovers. That's number one, unless you were a cousin. But now, look what has to happen. I mean, you're dividing people into groups. I mean, this could be a controversial statement, but what just popped into my head was kids that young that recognize themselves as a different sex. Could they just be thinking, I'm gay? So if I'm gay, if I'm attracted to girls or boys, which is nothing wrong with any of that, but I have to switch my name. I have to go to the other side. I mean, just think how confused these poor kids are.
I honestly, sincerely, I'm not, I'm not bugging out on this one. I don't know. Even though I worked with preemies, babies, and children professionally all my life, I did not work on that end of it. I don't profess to be an expert. And my youngest daughter, who's all on that kind of stuff, has to correct me all the time about pronouns and this and that. And I'm like, Dad, okay, I get it. All right. And sometimes it gets really confusing, like honestly, sincerely confusing for me. So I don't really I have a lot of hardliner stances, and you'll see me get frustrated and do this and point at the camera. But for this, I can't yet, not because I don't want to, not because I'm afraid to, I'm not, because I don't feel educated enough on the topic. And that's pretty sincere.
Absolutely. And apparently nobody is like that. Mom isn't really educated. I'm not. So it really is. I just feel for the kids in general, because
Yeah.
if we're adults and we've seen it all and we've done it all, and then something new like this happens, and you're like, wow, what's the right, what's the wrong? Is there a right and is there a wrong? I mean, talk about parenting.
Yeah.
Where's that parental handbook they hand out when you leave the maternity ward?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is none.
I don't know. The only thing that I can say is, regardless of the topic, and of course, this certainly is a hot topic, a hot potato topic, right? Regardless of the topic, going back to it takes a village to raise a child. You saw me get a little bit edgy and testy over that concept. No school system, at the behest of no Board of Education superintendent, at the behest of any town council or any mayor or any congressman or senator or governor or president or anybody in between, is going to be teaching my kids how they're supposed to live. I don't want them suggesting A through Z. That's not their place, it's not their business, and that's how I feel.
Just think, John.
You don't have to agree.
No, this is just opinions.
I don't
That's
mean you,
all
I
it
mean
is.
them.
I know, but it's just opinions. Nobody has to agree with anything we're saying. But just think, I mean, back in the day, because I know they're really trying to push sexuality. What do you recognize? What do you feel you are? Male, female, whatever. But back in the day, we called them perverts if you discuss that with children. And that was below 18.
If you discussed it with kids. And this whole conflict that's going on now in Florida, and I do not profess to know all of the details, because you know what? I don't think I want to know right now. I just have too many things on my mind, and that'll just
keep you up at night.
Keep me up at night, right?
Oh,
but I don't know. My thoughts were, I can remember back to grammar school. I can remember when I was 6 months old. So yeah, grammar school is a chip shot. No one ever talked to us in grammar school about sex. I have to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you, I don't really know the legal
Oh,
aspects of mentioning people's names, on a video and then putting up onto the internet. But a friend of mine, an edgy kind of friend of mine in the 5th grade, back at the coat closet at the back of the room, just comes out of nowhere and he goes, "Hey, guess what? Did you know?" And he told me about the birds and the bees. And that's when I found out about how things happen. My parents hadn't said a word to me up until that point. And I turned out normal, didn't I, Phil?
For the most part.
What is normal, right? So, oh my God, my cardinal is spinning.
Yeah.
So I just, my only thoughts were, people are batting around this tennis ball, the ping pong ball, the badminton shuttlecock, K through 3, K through 5, K through 8. You want to discuss all the different permutations of human sexuality with kids that are K through 3? You're out of your fucking minds. How's that?
I think most of America agrees with
I
that.
just exposed myself. Bring on the hate. I don't care. I don't care. You can express yourself, but you are never going to get me to clam up and shut up. YouTube might deplatform us. Okay, fine. They might. But you know something? Stop whining. Whenever there's a movement to tell, I can't.
Settle down.
I can't even begin to say how I feel about the issue K through 3? Third grade?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you people?
Yeah. And, as far as this argument goes, I have yet to hear somebody on the other side, meaning it's okay to discuss it, come forward and explain why they feel it's okay. I mean, it's just, everybody's for it, but nobody is actually coming forward and saying, well, I'm the person that thinks it's okay. I have not seen that.
Yeah, right. And the other concept here is that the media throws out some really, really controversial hot potato, And unless there's a flag bearer out there, everybody's attacking it on social media, on YouTube, on Rumble. Then you expose yourself. Oh, so and so's all the way to the right. Oh, so and so's a leftist. Listen to the diatribe. Meanwhile, everybody's kind of jumped in. They've weighed in. They've taken sides, but there isn't a flag bearer. Where's the flag bearer? So as far as I'm concerned right now, and I have not researched this, and guess what? I'm not going to. Why am I not going to? I just don't want to at this point. I don't, because researching this is probably going to solidify one stance or the other. And then it's going to just start dividing people. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute. Don't you think the well-being of your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids is worth the trouble, is worth the spiritual warfare? Sure I do. But you know what? Right now, I think I don't know enough. And I think I got to sit back and kind of watch this UFC fight. The thing I will say is, when a corporation like Disney, that as far as I'm concerned has taken a very, very, very dark turn over the years, when a company like that is out there trying to sway humanity, I'll never go to Disney again in my life, ever.
Well, that's a strong statement, but I
Well,
think
it is. That's how I feel.
I think there's a lot of people that are in the same position as you. They feel the same way. You know, John, there's a big push now. There's two words that are coming out more and more that I'm hearing when people talk or they're discussing both sides. And those words are common sense. Where has the common sense gone? And can we ever get back to just common sense in anything, whether it's raising taxes or raising kids? Where's the common sense?
Well, I got a feeling the common sense has gone by the wayside. It's gone with concepts like right and wrong, or that hot potato, that word truth. I had somebody before ask me, what is truth? When people ask what is truth, usually they've researched it enough to know that it's a loaded question. It's basically an anti-personnel grenade, and they're going to hand it to you. And if you take the question, they keep the pin and you've got the grenade. And then they back off and just do a little countdown. 3, 2, 1, boom. They know. Most people who ask, tell me, what is truth? They know the whole exchange from the Bible. They know Jesus said to Pontius Pilate as they stood there before he put them out to the crowd, I'm here to bear witness to the truth. So says Jesus, half beaten to death, right? And Pilate says, truth. What is truth? So the question, what is truth, is a big one. If you don't think it's true, look it up. But, common sense, they're going to say, well, what is common? Please define common. What is sense? I don't know. Who's normal? Who's not normal? Who's right? Who's wrong? So we live in this world of relativities and relative truths. And so all the lines are blurred. And I have a feeling that's just a recipe for disaster.
John, speaking on truth, don't facts denote truth? I mean, facts are facts. And if somebody wants to know the truth, well, what are the facts? I mean, the facts they're in black and white. They're laid out right for you.
Well, yeah, but I think, look, I have a couple of friends on Facebook. They know who they are. They've been trained in debate.
Okay.
Right? And I've even told one of them, been friends with him for years and years and years, and you know him. And I said, you know something? You're the best social media debater I've ever run across. I said, because usually before you jump in, or before you, throw it and start it, usually you've researched it. And he says, well, I was the captain of the debate team or whatever in college. And so people who are trained in debate know how to stay calm, collect themselves. They know how to, I don't want to say manipulate in a nefarious way. They know how to kind of move and bob and weave and duck and jive and slip and slide. And the rest of us who have no experience in debate can get clobbered, even though we think we're right, and then we come away bloodied and we come away frustrated and maybe we come away angry. I would get probably murdered in a real debate over common sense, right and wrong, just because I'm not practiced in it.
I think the art of the debate is long gone. I don't think people debate anymore, or not a lot of them. Everybody just wants to yell at each other, just scream at each other.
That's what social media is all about. As a matter of fact, that is the reason why I ditched my social media profiles. I don't know how long it was, 5 months, something like that. And I thought, oh God, this is going to be like me ditching carbs and no more pasta, no more pizza, or God forbid to an alcoholic, no more liquor and no more cigarettes to a smoker, and so on and so on. And when I ditched it, guess what I found out? I didn't miss it at all. I didn't miss it at all.
Can you apply that to your cell phone? I mean, I know we're all attached almost to a fault with the cell phone. I don't know anybody that can just not. I was the last guy to get a cell phone back when they first came out. I don't know if I can't find my cell phone, I'm in a panic.
Yeah.
Like between work, friends, family.
Well, we all at any given time we do the cell phone slap.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's like leaving your head somewhere else. I have just a terrifying cell phone slap story. It's a quick one. I was flying from Logan in Boston after spending a weekend with my daughter and her boyfriend and the dogs up there, not my dogs, their dogs. And I had to get to Logan at 5 o'clock in the morning for like a 6:30 flight back to Newark. And I was chatting with the Uber driver. We were stuck in stop and go traffic, and he had this little mini weeny teeny weeny car. My knees were in my chest. I'm like, okay, thank God I only have a carryout. And it was the winter, so I had a big winter overcoat, and my cell phone was stuck in the inside pocket of my overcoat, and that's where I always kept it. Well, unbeknownst to me, because I was in this knees to my chin position, it kicked my cell phone up out of the internal pocket, and then it was loose on the inside of my jacket, between my jacket and my body. I had no idea. So we get to Logan, he lets me out. I throw him a tip on top of the Uber tip, like I do all the time, and I get out, sayonara bud, thanks, boom, off he goes. Windows, the doors open up, and I'm in a massively crowded lobby, and I'm thinking, what is going on? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. And so all of a sudden I go, well, it's time for me to get my ticket, my e-ticket, whatever. So I grab my cell phone, and I just freaked out. And here I am in Logan amidst easily 1,000 people doing the cell phone slap. I threw my jacket onto the floor. I ripped my bag open. No cell phone. So I call over 2 TSA workers that looked like they were going from point A to point B. And I asked them, what do I do now? I said, my cell phone's got to be in my Uber. My ticket's in the cell phone. Well, we don't know. We don't really know. Can you call your Uber driver? With what? My cell phone?
Smoke signals.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Wow. So now I'm freaked out. And this 6'5", skinny FBI agent looking guy who apparently was some kind of Logan manager. He comes sauntering over. He says, I see. You can't find your cell phone. Like he was watching me. He knew what was going on. He must have been looking at me on a monitor doing the slap. And I says, it's almost like, here here's a light, bud. Try one of mine. He whips out his cell phone. He says, you see this? He says, what you just did happens 100 times a day here. He goes, it's almost my entire reason to work. He says, use my cell phone. And I said, well, how am I supposed to get the original guy back? He says, duh. He goes, just call your cell phone. He goes, but it's got to be on. I says, oh, it's on. So I called my cell phone, and I hear the Uber driver. I hear the traffic behind him. He goes, yeah. He goes, oh, yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I got your cell phone. He goes, okay. He goes, there's a lot of traffic, but, he goes, just wait for me outside. I'll come right back. And it took him like 20 minutes, but my stomach was in my throat. And when he pulled up, I wanted to kiss that guy. I couldn't believe that the FBI agent saved my ass. He was waiting for me to do the cell phone slap, and I did. And the Uber driver was on it. And then I checked in. I went through TSA, and I flew back to Newark. And just for those, for about maybe 45 minutes, I was terrorized.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's heart pump. You didn't even need an energy drink after that, did you?
Oh my God, no. Jeez.
The heart was popping. It's
Yeah.
funny you mentioned that vacations and airport. My daughter is in Florida now as we speak on vacation. So of course, even though she's 34 years old,
Jesus.
where did the time go? Gina, I'm not supposed to say names. I don't know. But I said, call me when you get to the airport. All right, she did that, and when you're leaving for the airport, you call me. All right, Dad, we're on our way. Okay, and just text me a little bit, and I don't hear from her. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I got the phone call; they were on their way, and I'm like, where's the text or a call saying we're boarding, or we landed? Hours are gone by.
Of course.
Now I'm concerned. Like, is it just her being her? Typical. Why would I think of my father waiting for me at this age? Right? He should be over it already. But maybe it's an Italian thing. I don't know. But I'm never over it. And she forgot her phone in her car.
In the Uber?
No, it was her car.
Oh.
But she forgot it there in her car. So luckily her boyfriend contacted me hours later when they were in Florida when she realized that she had no phone. I think I was the last person on the list she would call. But that's when I knew. But not as bad as you, but I was like, where's the cell phone? Like, where's the text, the message that said, I got there okay, we're boarding, all that stuff. I didn't hear any of it. Just that she was leaving.
So we're in an age of instant communication. And if you can't, look, it's not going to go back. There's no way that humanity is going to walk back instant communication. It's impossible. It's not happening. So my aunt, who's, God bless her, she's 90, almost 97. She's in a nursing home, and she calls me up 2-3 times a day, and she'll say, I want to see a picture. Well, how am I going to do that? She's Aunt Dolly. How am I going to do that, Aunt Dolly? I says, when I come down and visit you next week, I said, I'll show you the pictures on my cell phone. I said, but you don't have a cell phone. I can't show you the pictures. Oh, yeah. So, it's that. It's business. It's of course, safety. So many things that we are sold. We're sold in the name of safety. Oh, this is for your safety. Sure it is, just like the Patriot Act. Right.
With Aunt Dolly, how about those new picture frames they have? Where you can upload pictures?
Yeah.
I mean, I had that for my father. We had that for my father in Florida. And to the day he died, I don't think he ever understood why the picture was changing.
Right. It's a great idea. And I'm supposed to this week go and get like a 19-inch, Roku-ready TV for her. And then try to set it up in her room, because she's got a cubby on a cabinet that I think only takes a 19-inch TV. It's got a base. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. I can remember my mother's mother was 97 in a nursing home right in Cedar Grove. And those were the days when the Food Channel was just it was just born. I think, it was the tail end of Julia Child and Graham Kerr, and there was a the Cajun chef. I can't remember his name. He was an older guy with a white mustache and suspenders. He'd say, "Ooh wee, I'll tell you, him and his andouille." and she loved them, and Emeril Lagasse. And I had to make a whole bunch of VHS tapes at my house, and then I bought her a VHS recorder, under the TV, and taught her how to pop the tapes in. But they had no cable, and there was no reception, so maybe they had like one of the local networks that came in and out and in and out. And you know what? That's torture for somebody who was a consumer of movies and cable TV before she became an inmate at that center. And the people that own the center don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. So, but getting back to the cell phones, we're not walking that back at all. And cell phones are at least the technology and the expectations are here to stay. And look, it's already driven into our brains. The whole thing is about triggering dopamine and dopamine receptors in your brain. I know that when I can't sleep, the worst thing for me to do is to pick up my cell phone and start flipping through those video shorts, either in Facebook or Instagram. Some of them are just fabulous. It's animal videos, it's jerky pet videos, it's whatever, sports videos. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going.
It doesn't stop. What about those channels where it says relax to hearing rainfall or the ocean?
Oh, that works for me.
Really?
Yeah, it does. And then
You're not doing the backstroke in the middle of the night?
Well, it might be, but so I've come to realize that the rainstorm and the thunderstorm in a jungle works for me only if it's, quote, the black screen rainstorm. So because after about a week of staring at the blue glow on my ceiling and having the room just too illuminated, I said, well, now I got to throw a beach towel over my TV. Is it going to heat up? Is this dangerous? I don't know. So then I saw, black screen, rainfall, and thunder. They were thinking. So that helps me.
John, I have to ask you a very serious question.
Uh-oh.
This whole podcast.
Should we turn this off?
No. I want people to bear witness to this.
God.
This whole podcast, I feel like somebody's been looking over my shoulder. Can you please explain that? What's going on?
You mean Bones in the back?
Yeah. What's going on?
Bones.
That's a new addition to the. We haven't had Bones in these podcasts yet.
Well, if I say, Bones, we need your help. He could now say, damn it, John, I'm a doctor.
Jim.
Because he's wearing, right, Jim.
Yeah.
He's got
he's
got his surgery cap on today, and he's got a shaman's feather in his hand. Don't worry. Bones is chomping at the bit to make his debut here live on this podcast, and he's got a lot of things that he wants to say. I just don't know how to contain him yet. But once we figure that out, Bones will be stepping up. That's all.
I was a little concerned.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I was talking about. Yeah. I feel
right.
I kind of like them. It's like security.
Bones is back there watching in the wings.
I know. I'm waiting for his opportunity.
Yep.
Well, pal, it's been a great podcast.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Get some sleep.
I hope we don't get canceled on this one, but fuck it. How's that? Maybe we'll get canceled for the F word. Yeah.
It was a great podcast.
Yes,
we had a couple controversial topics, but listen, that's what it's all about.
And we were doing hopscotch. We went everywhere. And look, that's pretty much probably how this podcast is going to go. And I think that they're interesting topics, and Phil's fabulous with dredging them up, and then we just kind of tear them apart. So we hope you enjoyed it. Friends, can't wait to see you again on the next episode of The Jersey Alchemist.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Peace. I had to bring Bones into it. I mean, come on.